Ama nianze kutoa vidokezo tena tu vya ukweli.
Wacha kusema tu ni sauti ya kazi. Eleza.
Radio leads in overall media consumption in Kenya, proving that it is the most powerful form of media to communicate. The Kenya Audience Research Foundation says 93% of Kenyans tune into a radio station every week and listen for an average of 6 hours.
Currently in Kenya we are measuring radio and TV station with a diary. So people has a weekly diary where they need to fill in the diary every quarter hour which station they're listening to. This is based on what do you remember.
Fred AFUNE knows the radio world inside out. As head of radio at Royal Media Services, he is single-handedly responsible for 47% of Kenya's entire radio listeners.
Royal Media right now operates 14 radio stations, locally 2 national stations and 12 community stations. We have an English national station and we have a Swahili national station, which is a leading radio station according to independent research.
The group's flagship station, Radio Citizen, has been a national market leader for about a decade. It broadcasts in Swahili, one of Kenya's 2 national languages. Research suggests that listeners stay longer for Swahili stations, spending up to 10 hours a day listening. Why has it been so successful?
It has been because of innovation and connecting with the audience, just knowing what it is that our people out there want. The global approach of Royal Media has always been to target the masses, who we believed before media was too elitist and they were underserved.
On the other end of the spectrum is Homeboys Radio, a youth-oriented radio station that is part of a wide entertainment group. John Rabar, who runs it, is a popular DJ and also hosts a show on the station. He says the youth market cannot be ignored.
We try and sell a lifestyle. That's what the Homeboys brand is. It's a youth culture, it's a youth movement. So it's not just about playing a song. We play music, if that makes sense. Anybody can play a song, but we understand the music because of our background in the industry of 15 to 18 years deep in terms of from back in the day when there were no CDs, you couldn't download anything on the internet. So we understand the product from a more intimate perspective than a lot of the competition.
For everyone else who's listening 521, you know where.
But the urban scene is replete with a dozen or so radio stations, all trying to target the same consumer. Nairobi, for instance, which has just over 2 million residents, has 46 radio stations broadcasting to it.
It's highly competitive, one, and the numbers for people who listen to English stations are primarily concentrated in urban areas. If you want to be successful as an English station in this market, you must break in Nairobi, you must break in Mombasa, Nakuru to a small extent, and Kisumu. If you do not make it in those markets, you will not do it.
There's so much variety out there. So you really have to offer something special and unique to keep your head above water because the market is flooded. Advertising, sometimes not purely a numbers game. Sometimes it also depends on how liquid your audience is. So the challenge we have sometimes is you may have a lot of young people, but they're not very, they don't have a huge pocket, a deep pocket.
But Royal Media's 12 community radio stations broadcasting in local languages have earned both admiration and no small amount of criticism. The first to launch was Inoro FM, broadcasting in Kikuyu, the most populous ethnic group in Kenya.
But most Kenyans are not in urban areas and they communicate in those languages. Yet they also need to participate in the national discourse, whether it's economic, political, or social. How do we take the discussions to them? And that's how we decided we are going to go into that market. And it wasn't an easy market because we didn't get support. The initial, for the first 3 years, we even contemplated closing Inoro, the Kikuyu station, which was our first vernacular station. And right now it's the biggest community radio station and profitable as well.
Though accused of fanning the violence that followed the 2007 general elections, vernacular radio stations have taken off in Kenya, with competitors springing up all over the country to speak to their specific demographics. In the battle for Kenyan audiences, segmentation is the name of the game.
Ultimately, there will be segmentation. There'll always be a group of people who are looking for something. You see, like the English segment will be forced to go into things like jazz, to go into things like talk radio, which have not been explored here, to offer a point of differentiation both to your audience and advertisers.
New media has really changed how the conventional forms of media act. It's now no longer just enough to just go and put up the fader on the mixer and, like I said, play a song.